We're in uncharted territory.
That's where we like it.
I'm not gonna see you, Mr. Unwrapped.
Okay, apparently,
Wash your hands!
apparently you guys use condoms.
Don't touch me.
So of course I use a condom with my wife.
Okay.
You've seen our child. Can't have more than one of those running around.
This got more specific than I wanted it to. I was trying to keep it vague. Johnny's like, I specifically cannot afford another kid.
I changed my mind. Where's the whiskey?
So if you guys had to endure being assimilated by the thing or be turned into a fly, Jeff Goldblum style, which would you choose?
I would give a blowjob to a shotgun before I had to choose.
That is not an option, sir.
I guess the fly, because then I'm not like owned by a.
Oh man.
Assimilation.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go assimilation.
Okay.
I don't like either of those, but God, have you seen The Fly?
Yes.
It's
Yes, I have.
that is probably the most tragic movie ever put to film.
Good Lord. Yeah. 24 hours, baby.
It's that movie with Billy Zane, right? It's directed by Richard Donner.
Yep. Nailed it.
That's the one. I got it. I'm so good at this. Yes, I just, if you're the fly, then like that's terrible, but like you're the fly, you're not assimilated into whatever the fuck the thing is, so fuck the thing.
Maintain your individuality.
Exactly. I will die a fly.
The man, the unwrapped man, doesn't want to help spread the seed across civilization. You want to die in 24 hours? There are conflicting views going on over here.
I just want you to get a tattoo that says "I will die a fly."
Sure, buddy. Got it.
Cheers, boys. Let's fucking bring this one home, shall we?
Ooh, doggy.
Welcome back to the Jony Horror Podcast. I am your host, Jony Horror. We are continuing our discussion of John Carpenter's The Thing. It was released in 1982 to mixed to negative reviews, as we discussed in our last episode, which if you have not listened to, what is essentially 4 hours of coverage.
God.
At this point, please go back, do yourself a favor, and do us a favor, really, and make us feel like we didn't waste 4 hours of our life talking about this movie. And listen to what we have to talk about. We talked about the things we liked about the movie, things we didn't like about the movie. We talked about some behind-the-scenes stuff, which cocktail we would like to enjoy while we were being assimilated by the thing. Sit down. Sit down.
My cocktail wins. It's a fuzzy navel.
I swear to fuck. I swear to fucking fuck. You say fuzzy navel one more goddamn time, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I just want you to say it one more goddamn time.
No! With me tonight, my co-host on the Jony Horror Podcast, my partner in crime, the most fuckity of fuck faces, Brian O. Calvert!
I didn't like that.
And some guy.
And the most handsome, the most polished, most educated, the best bartender out of the three of us bartenders,
All right.
Kalen Unwrapped Bearman! Woo!
That sounds like I'm killing somebody. Does not sound like a crowd cheer.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you know. Oh God, I broke the line.
So far off the rails, guys. We're in another town.
This is a good town to be in. It's, you know.
Oh, fuck.
It's Johnny Town.
Ugh.
When you're in Johnny Town, you know, you have your next door neighbors, you have people that you love, you think you know them, but maybe, you know, one day you come across them and they seem like they're different. Maybe, you know, they're not who they seem like they were. And slowly but surely you start to realize that nobody trusts anybody now. Here, at this stage of Outpost 31, we are going to talk about the source material from which the thing is based on. So, this film is based on a 1938 science fiction horror novella by American author John W. Campbell, written under the pen name Don A. Stewart, which is titled Who Goes There? Its story follows a group of people trapped in a scientific outpost in Antarctica with a shape-shifting alien monster able to absorb and perfectly imitate any living being. Who Goes There was first published in August 1938. In the August 1938 issue of Astounding Science Fiction magazine was also printed as The Thing from Another World, as well as included in the collection by the same title. Its extended novel version, found in an early manuscript titled Frozen Hell, was published in 2019. Who Goes There has been directly adapted to a film in 1951 as The Thing from Another World by Christian Neebe, and again in 1982 as The Thing by John Carpenter. The story's many other adaptations and works inspired by have spanned various media. All right. So we're going to dive into the plot of this novel. We're just going to, you know, maybe do some compare and contrast versus this and the film that we got in 1982. Here we go. A group of American researchers isolated in their scientific station in Antarctica towards the end of winter, so right there, the end of winter, not the beginning of winter, discover an alien spaceship buried in the ice, where it crashed 20 million years before.
100,000.
Yeah, there you go. Big difference in mileage there. They try to thaw the inside of the spacecraft with a thermite charge, but end up accidentally destroying it when the spaceship's magnesium hull is ignited by the charge. Oops!
They blow up the fucking spaceship. Fucking idiots.
Our bad.
They do recover an alien creature from the ancient ice, which researchers believe was searching for heat when it was frozen. Thawing revives the alien, a being which can assume the shape, memories, and personality of a living thing it devours, while maintaining its body mass for further reproduction. Unknown to them, the alien immediately kills and then imitates the crew's physicist, a man named Kalen. With some 90 pounds of its matter left over, it tries to become a sled dog. That's very interesting.
Whoa.
It's dealing with, like, it has to, like, use certain bits of its body to absorb other things to equate its mass.
Cool.
That's I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
It certainly would complicate the film more than
Yeah.
it needed to be, but as far as like the novel is concerned, that's pretty interesting. The crew discovers the dog thing and kills it midway through its process of transformation. Pathologist Blair, who had lobbied for thawing the thing, goes insane with paranoia and guilt, vowing to kill everyone at the base to save mankind. He is isolated within a locked cabin at their outpost. That's very much in keeping with the story. Conan is also isolated as a precaution, and a rule of 4 is initiated in which all personnel must remain under close scrutiny of 3 others. That's pretty cool.
Dang. Well, yeah, there's 37 of them.
Yeah. I feel like you can break up into small groups and everyone can have their own camp.
Shit show. Yeah.
The crew realizes they must isolate their base and therefore disable their airplanes and vehicles, yet they pretend that everything is normal during radio transmissions to prevent any rescue attempts. So they have radio transmissions. This is very bleak.
Yeah.
The researchers try to figure out who may have been replaced by the alien, simply referred to as the Thing. That's great. To destroy the imitations before they can escape to overtake the world. The task is almost impossibly difficult when they realize the Thing is shape-shifting and telepathic.
What?
Reading minds and projecting thoughts. A sled dog is conditioned by human blood injections from Cooper and Gary to provide a human immunity serum test, as in rabbits. The initial test of Conan is inconclusive, as they realize that the test animal received both human and alien blood, meaning that either the doctor or the expedition commander is an alien. Assistant Commander McCready takes over and deduces that all the other animals at the station, save for the dog test, have already become imitations and are all killed by electrocution and the corpses burned.
What the fuck?
Everyone suspects each other by now, but most stay together for safety, deciding who will take turns sleeping and standing watch. Tensions mount, and some men began to go mad, thinking that they are already the last human, or wondering if they could know if they were not human any longer. Ultimately, Kinner, the cook, is murdered and accidentally revealed to be a Thing. McCready realizes that even small pieces of the creature will behave as independent organisms. He then uses this fact to test which men have been converted by taking blood samples from everyone and dipping a heated wire in the vial of blood. Each man's blood is tested, one at a time, and the donor is immediately killed if his blood recoils from the wire. 14 men in all. Holy shit! Including Conan and Gary, are revealed to be Things. The remaining men go to test the isolated Blair, and on the way see the first albatross of the Arctic Spring flying overhead. They shoot the bird to prevent a Thing from infecting it and trying to fly to civilization. When they reach Blair's cabin, they discover he is a Thing. They realize that it has been left to its own devices for a week, coming and going as it pleases, as it is able to squeeze into doors by transforming itself. With the creatures inside the base destroyed, McCready and 2 others enter the cabin to kill the Thing that was once Blair. McCready forces it out on the snow and destroys it with a blowtorch. Afterwards, the trio discovered that the Thing was dangerously close to finishing construction of a nuclear-powered anti-gravity device that would allow it to escape to the outside world.
That sounds
Jesus
awesome.
Christ.
That sounds really fucking cool.
I can't wait to read that.
That was written in the 1930s. Who the fuck comes up with that?
I mean, it is super impressive.
Shit.
But they had that, they had that. They were writing out their science fiction in like the 1860s. Like, think about like,
Look at this. It says nuclear powered.
Mm-hmm.
This is before
nuclear
the
power.
nuclear
Yeah,
bomb
Nuclear
was
power was
invented.
a concept.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that's.
how-
I mean, that
Region.
just that That's
They're just
crazy.
going out in every direction.
I mean, that
Sci-fi, baby.
there's so many things in that are like it is astoundingly close to what we get in the final picture.
The movie's
Yeah.
clearly inspired by this
Yes.
story. Like, it's
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
very inspired by the story.
I like the bits that they kind of like discover. This is Brian, this is kind of what you were talking about with the blood test, where like it shapeshifts to be able to maneuver in certain things, which we don't really see
that happen,
in the
right.
film.
But it's
Certainly left to suggestion, because how would Blair be able to come and go? That's very much how he would be able to do it.
And it's like when Bennings is about to get taken over, and he's in the room with the corpse, and the blood's just like dripping out,
Yes,
and doing
yes,
its thing.
yes.
And that's like the only little thing they would
Yes.
kind of throw in there about that.
And I was kind of thinking that today too when I was watching it. I thought like, oh, it looks very like there's a certain
Venomy.
density to it,
Yeah.
that flow to
It's
it that
moving.
almost doesn't look like it's just blood dripping.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a wild story. I mean, 14 people killed in the test.
And the fact that they're just like, oh damn, he was left out there for a week.
I'm guessing not all 37 characters have distinct names and personalities.
No, I probably
Because
not.
how do you write a shorter story with
that way.
37 distinct characters?
Isn't it fun to kind of look back on it and be like how they're just referred to as the things, and knowing that you have the thing from another world, sure, but then this film, which is just the thing, it's just the thing. That's all they talk about. You're one of these things. He could be one of those things. You know,
Right.
If you were all one of these things, you just attack me. Like how that specific, those two words, like used just probably in just a throwaway thing in this novel. That's just how they talk about it. Ends up becoming, iconic 50 years later,
Crazy.
There's a whole bunch of
That whole section of birds is trips me out.
dude. I love that bit about the birds.
I love that
man.
too.
I think that's
great.
I think that's
That's
genius.
fantastic.
There's just no way to fucking catch this thing now. You woke it up. You left the guy out there for a week.
Yeah.
And they just know they're screwed.
Okay, I'm gonna blow through this shit really quick. Okay, so it says characters. Although the expedition is based at Big Magnet, comprises 37 members. Only 16. There you go, Kalen. Are named in the story, but 3 by last name alone. By the end of the story, 15 have all been replaced by imposters. Wow. Barclay, president at Alien Excavation. Benning, aviation mechanic. He survives. He appears in the 1982 adaptation named George Bennings with the occupation of meteorologist. Blair, biologist, present at Alien Excavation. Blair goes insane after the thing escapes due to his desire to thaw the thing. Blair is locked in the tool shed where he is replaced by the thing. Blair appears in the 1982 adaptation. Caldwell, a member of the team. Clark, dog handler. Clark is later revealed to be a thing. He appears in the 1982 adaptation. Conant, a physicist, cosmic ray specialist. He is the first member of the team to be assimilated. In Frozen Hell, he is given the first name Jerry.
People used to like that expression in science fiction, cosmic rays.
What does it mean?
Nothing in real life.
High
That's the
energy
point.
particles.
Yeah.
Dr. Copper, physician, present at the Alien Excavation. Copper appears in the 1982 adaptation. Dutton, revealed to be a thing. Gary, expedition commander. Gary is eventually revealed to be a thing and killed. Present in the 1982 adaptation. Kenner, Scarface cook. Kenner is later revealed to be a thing. McCready, expedition, second in command, meteorologist, present at Alien Excavation. McCready appears in the 1982 adaptation, portrayed by Kurt Russell, named R.J. McCready, and a helicopter pilot. Norris, muscular physicist, Norris appears in the 1982 adaptation. Although he is given Kinner's fate and much of Kinner's characterization. Pomeroy, livestock handler, Ralston, sledgekeeper, Van Wall, chief pilot, and president at Alien Excavation. So it sounds like it actually really is kind of crazy how many of the characters like are those characters, you know? You know, you have Copper is still the chief physicist, Gary's the base commander and all that. Fairly interesting. Let's see, non-humans. The Thing. The antagonist is a malevolent shape-shifting alien life form. It appears in all 3 film adaptations. In the first film, 1951, The Thing is depicted as a tall, menacing humanoid alien that is composed of vegetable matter. In the later 2 films, The Thing retains their ability to shapeshift, though they do not have telepathic abilities. I love that bit, the telepathic abilities. That makes like if that is the case, there is no way of beating it.
No,
there is no way of beating
stacked.
it. You have no fucking chance.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
A shape-shifting monster that can read and control your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck?
You're fucked.
You're done.
Y'all getting eaten.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's see here. Okay, publication history. 2 slightly different versions of the original novella exist. It was first published in Astounding Science Fiction in a 12-chapter version, which also appears in Adventure in Time and Space and Antarctos Cycle, and the Antarctos Cycle, Horror and Wonder at the Ends of the Earth, under the title The Thing from Another World. An extended 14-chapter version was later included in the Best of John W. Campbell collection, Who Goes There? In 1973, the story was voted by Science Fiction Writers of America as one of the stories representing the most influential, important, and memorable science fiction that has ever been written. It was promptly published with other top-voted stories in the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 2. Wow. Frozen Hell. We'll wrap up with this on this segment. In 2018, it was discovered that Who Goes There was actually a shortened version of a larger novel previously written by Campbell. The vastly expanded manuscript, including an entirely different opening titled Frozen Hell, another working title was Pandora, was found in a box of manuscripts sent by Campbell to Harvard University. The discovery was made by author and biographer Alec Navala-Lee during his research on a biography of Campbell and other authors from the golden age of science fiction. Campbell first attempted selling the story to Argosy, but was rejected by its editor, John Jack Francis Bryan. After some rewriting and significant trimming, it was accepted by Astounding's officer F. Orland Tremaine. A Kickstarter campaign was launched to publish the full novel. When completed on December 1st, the campaign had raised more than $155,000 compared to its original $1,000 goal. Wow. An edited version of the 2 original drafts was published by Wildside Press under the full title Frozen Hell, the book that inspired The Thing, illustrated by Bob Eggleton and prefaced by Navala-Lee and introduced by Robert Silverberg. E-books version of the novel began distributing digitally to campaign backers on January 16th, 2019, with physical copies following in June the same year. So which one do you want to read?
Let's see what they got on Amazon.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna check and see what's available.
That's wild.
Yeah, and there is also a novelization of the script by Bill Lancaster, which I actually own. I think it's fairly rare. I've started to read it. I haven't finished it. I started reading it during quarantine days when I would sit in my car trying to do Grubhub for hours. from what I read, it's more or less the same. It's just a little bit more detailed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Novelizations
tend to kind of be like that. It's
yeah.
like reading the movie and then there's like little bits.
Yeah. I like novelizations. I think they're fun. They're a fun kind of like almost fan fiction-y
right.
like version of the flick. That being said, who goes there just sounds fascinating to me. I
want to read that.
What a
to get my hands on that one.
Man.
But you know, when you're talking about who goes there, you know, you're looking around at everybody and you're noticing that maybe someone in this camp ain't who he appears to be. So in this stage of the camp, I just want to talk about your thoughts on the prequel, which I talked to you both about off mic. Neither one of you have seen. I have seen the prequel, and it's interesting because it deals with the Norwegian camp,
right,
and everything that happens there before.
Cool.
So the big thing with that film is that they filmed it all with practical effects. The studio saw it and made them take out all the practical effects and replace it with
CG. All CG.
God damn it!
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Which I didn't know at the time of watching the film, but found out after the fact, and I just think it's insanely offensive that like all that work was done and they were like, no, modern day audiences won't buy this, so we'll make it CG.
That's bullshit.
And that should tell you something about some of the people that run some of those companies that are making millions of dollars to make those decisions. Some of them are really fucking stupid.
I mean, to a degree,
that's rough.
They are right, because so many people that are younger than us won't watch these type of movies because they think the effects look dated.
Yep.
Which I just find insane. But if I would encourage both of you guys to watch the prequel.
Yeah.
I think
definitely want to see it now.
If you want to talk about fan fiction, like it plays into that. I do think it has a lot in common, like I said, with the 1951 version. There's a woman in it.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Who does a fantastic job.
I'm a fan.
She does a very, very good job. The cast is really great. And there's a more in if I remember right, in The Thing from Another World, there's kind of a more antagonistic human who's like, no, this is the way we need to do things, and da 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 da. There is a human like that in this film that kind of makes those decisions and is almost like, no, you're a woman, like I don't, need your opinion, sort of a deal. So it's fun in that regard because you get kind of those butting heads, but there's some cool things. I think if it had been done with the animatronics, it'd be a much better film, because a lot of the issues with the film that I have with the film is that it is the CG's rough. It's really rough. Yeah. That being said, there's one or two standout scenes. That being said, those standout scenes are also it very much feels like a remake in a lot of ways. There's a lot of the same beats in the story. They have a test too. Their test is what they do with their test is pretty cool.
Okay.
But it's an interesting exercise, to say the least. But I definitely encourage you and anyone who's not seen the prequel, check it out. It's a fun movie. You'll be frustrated if you love the 1982 version. You'll be frustrated watching it, but I do think it'll be one of those things where you're like, okay, I like this, I didn't like this, but this is good. Like, I don't hate the movie by any means.
Right.
I think the people making the movie, like at ground level, they're filming the movie, wanted to make a good movie.
Yeah.
Now, there was an interview done with John Carpenter recently where he let it slip that they might be working on a new Thing picture.
Ooh.
Would you guys like to see a sequel to The Thing where it hits civilization?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see a sequel, period.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm down for whatever.
Same.
Civilization, I don't know. That's a big sell. I mean, obviously it's either that or it's, very similar.
Well,
to what
I was
we
gonna
just
say it's
had.
more of the same. You know,
Yeah.
you have to do it. It
You
really
gotta
kind
do
of does
something.
kind of play into one or the other.
Whatever John Carpenter wants to do as the sequel, I want to see it. 100%.
Well, I don't know how much.
100%.
I don't know if he's behind it. It sounded like it was in the works, but I don't know how much of a hand he has in it.
If it's good enough for John Carpenter to say, okay, fine, fucking do it, I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I want to see it either way. Like, I
Right.
mean, like
Right,
that's
I'd watch it
it's,
no
it's
matter
a
what.
really cool.
Yeah, I want to see it.
It's
Yeah.
a really cool story, so why not?
Yeah.
I think it'd be very
I'll probably fuck
interesting
it up,
if
but I wanna
you.
watch it.
And you never know, though. They might not.
That's true.
Right? It might be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You never know.
I feel like it's if they can make a true sequel and not a legacy sequel where they have to constantly homage and reference the
Mhm.
original.
Oh, yeah, no, an actual sequel
Yes.
for sure.
You know,
Yes.
I would be okay with that. I don't need the "Are you fucking kidding me" line being thrown out because I see that in other horror movies on the regular. That specific line where they're like winking at the audience. I'm like, yes, I know, I've seen The Thing
Yeah,
too.
we've all
Fuck.
seen the thing.
Exactly.
But I think it could be cool to see, maybe like a World War Z style of like the shit is hitting the fan and like who the fuck do you trust? I mean it would feel very much like a zombie sort of movie.
Yeah, it would have
But
to. To some extent.
I think there's a lot of things you could do with it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one direction you'd have to go. Like I think you could do something that's bigger than what we had at the last one, but smaller than what you're describing. Like I think there's a lot of different ways you could do it.
Yeah.
I think it's really something that opens itself up to a lot of different interpretations depending on what you want to do. Like you could do anything from a fucking submarine to a grocery store to Disneyland and a fucking spaceship. Like I mean, you could do anything.
I love
Just
the
a great
idea
story.
of I love the idea of like it would take the claustrophobia and the isolation, effect. I love the idea of doing a sequel to The Thing on an oil rig.
That'd be fucking a very cool idea. Like
Yeah.
you could do all kinds of cool stuff there.
You kind of play into the same tropes and stuff like that, but that was kind of like a baseline.
But you can also give them a different spin. Like you don't have to do it the same way. You can. That's the other thing too. Is you can use a lot of the things that make the first one awesome, like story wise, but you can spin it in a different direction.
Yeah.
And still have something that's unique and original and interesting. Yeah.
God, that dude, I if there's no other takeaway from this fucking podcast, it's just those birds, man. I'm like, I swear to
Right?
God,
God, that
Because
trips
I
me
fucking
out.
love
Johnny's
that.
gonna go sit down and write some weird shit about aliens and
Oh,
birds
yeah.
after this. It's happening.
I got you, man.
Yeah, that's been sticking with me, too.
My fan fiction.
That's trippy.
All right, so we're all a little depressed. I think we need to go kind of spend some time in the rec room. How about that? Maybe let's some ping pong. Maybe shoot some pool. Here in the rec room, at this place in the camp, I just want to talk about your YouTube scene selection. So this is basically the scene that you would show someone who knows nothing about The Thing something to get them hooked to watch the whole movie. What would be your scene?
Probably like a clip from the blood test scene or something. I don't know. It'd have to be cut really well. So
No, just like
It's
YouTube
just like a
scene, just like
movie
a
clip,
cut,
right?
a clip from the actual movie.
Ooh.
What do you show them?
Ooh. Damn, that's hard.
I mean, in the spirit of answering this question the way I feel like you want me to answer it.
No, I want you to answer the way you want to.
Well, no, because the real truth is that I wouldn't show someone a clip. I'd be like, bitch, trust me. This movie fucking rules. Sit down like an adult and watch it. Watch the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't show people clips.
I see what you mean.
So, but like the Norris scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
The
that's
Norris scene, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
So, yeah,
that's
I
the
wanna go,
scene.
I would want to go
But I also
more
don't wanna
like
spoil it, which is why I wouldn't
ambiguous.
watch it.
I would want to go like the Norwegian camp scene.
Yeah, see, that's my pick. That's my pick.
Like pick it up from like them seeing like the frozen guy already
Now,
killed
see,
himself.
I started the helicopter.
See, that's really good.
I started the helicopter, and
Yeah.
I just let that whole scene play out. And I go, all right, now,
All
if,
the way
if
to
you
get
like
a
this,
shovel?
if you like what I just showed you, like, because it ends with, what is that? What is that? A
see this,
man in
like,
there?
thing.
And then you cut
And
right
it's like,
there.
Go get me a shovel.
And yeah, and
And
then
that's
like, see, to
They're
me,
like,
because
well, what was it? Like, what the fuck happened there?
because to me, and we talked about
That was
this,
my
we
hook, yeah.
touched upon it briefly. That is to me the best scene in the movie, because as much as those other scenes are showstoppers and they are great, and I will never argue, the Norris scene is one of the scariest
yeah.
scenes to ever be put on film. There it is, right there.
Damn,
The mystery
Yeah.
surrounding the Norwegian camp
Mystery and beer.
and the foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
The tension, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for
there's it's perfect. And to me, like if you like scary movies, or even if you don't like scary movies, you're intrigued in that scene, because you can't watch that scene. You can't watch that scene as an objective viewer of anything and not go, what happened?
Yeah.
Right.
I want to know more. You can't.
Without seeing anything.
Yes.
Those are good answers, guys. No, I'm serious. I think you guys nailed it.
those were my two things.
I think
Like
you guys
those were my
nailed it,
two
though.
scenes that I was like, and I
I
was
think
like,
the one you're talking about though would build intrigue without spoiling
Yeah.
the big moments. So I think that's excellent.
Yeah, that was the only kicker for me. I'm like, I don't want him to see any of the good shit. Though.
Exactly. You
So
wanna save those big-
that was the only thing that like put me in that scene. I'm like, okay, this could like, kind of get you there.
well, yeah, because like if you show them one of the big scenes, it's like, all right, cool, well that happened, but they
Right.
don't have any context.
right.
Right.
As a viewer of the Norwegian scene, you go in knowing just as much
Yeah.
as those characters do.
Right.
You know?
Yep. It's a kicker.
Good. Well, glad we're all on the same page here. I feel like we might all be assimilated. It's hard to tell. I'm a little untrustworthy, so maybe we need to take a blood test. Alright, guys. I feel like we're all going to be, once again, very on the same page here,
Oh, boy.
but we're going to talk about our final thoughts and our rankings. So each of you, at your leisure, talk to me about how you feel about this movie and what you would rank it out of 10.
Ooh, baby. Am I going first?
Would you like to?
No, you go first.
I think this is one of the best horror films ever made. I think it's one of the best science fiction movies ever made. I think it's arguably the best science fiction horror movie ever made. I think it's 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect movie. Maybe the best monster movie ever made. Right there. It's right. I mean, it's right there. There's only a couple of contenders.
I guess it all kind of depends on what you define as a monster movie, too, because, like, monster movies can be varied, you know. Jurassic Park could be considered a monster movie. Jaws could be considered a monster movie.
Sure.
In the traditional sense of a monster movie, I would disclude those films, and
Same.
I see what you're stepping on, you know.
Yeah. So in that sense, I do mean like science fiction monsters, things that are not of the real world that we live in or the world that we formerly didn't live in. But yeah, I think, just one of the best monster movies ever made. Maybe the best monster movie ever made. Great alien movie, great science fiction movie, and just a fantastic film. 10 out of 10. One of my perfect movies. In my echelon of perfect movies, for sure.
I'm curious what the rest of the perfect movies are.
Well, in this one, for me, I hold it very closely with Alien.
Yeah.
In the science fiction horror pantheon, to me, those are like the peak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I rank it up there pretty high. I still think it's just like one of the most terrifying settings ever conceived, and how you just don't know anyone, you can't trust anyone. It's just like horrific, and that setting and the isolation and claustrophobia, it all just adds to it, and the distrust. I put it a 9.5 for sure, just because I think it's just fucking up there. It's so cool, and it's just horrifying on all other levels. Even if you're not afraid, like, realistically of the animatronics and everything, just the mindset of the movie is terrifying in its own, and trying to, like, pick someone to relate to is impossible pretty much, like, the whole time, excluding, McCready and whatever, like, and even then, the ending, like, you're just left, like, it's just so unsettling. It makes such a good fucking movie. Yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for sure.
I wonder, Bri, what, like, you don't like a ton of horror movies.
No, I hate scary movies.
Is this
They make
like
me uncomfortable?
we're gonna have to do a episode with you, me, and The Descent. I think.
Fuck, dude, my mom brought it up at lunch today. I don't even know why. And was like, "Oh my god, remember that movie, The Descent?" And I was like, "Fuck off!" Like, I hate that movie so much.
What as far as like your like horror movies go, where does the thing rank in like horror movies that you actually enjoy? Is that like at the top?
Yeah, but because it scares me in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like horror movies now because I just don't like fucking jump scares, and I don't like the like insane like dark, like physically like dark lighting of tension and that shit of like unsettling and like that shit that's like just nightmare fuel. This is like sci-fi horror to me, and I love that shit because it's just it freaks me out. And when I watched this as a kid, it gave me nightmares. But it's different from like when I was a fucking kid and watched The Descent or The Grudge, and it like stuck in my brain for all of eternity and ruined my nightmares forever. This was like, damn, I can appreciate this like as an adult. This is a fucking still a killer movie. Like, I've never watched The Grudge again. I've never watched The Descent again. I still fucking hate those movies, and I never will watch them again because I know my PTSD will come screaming back, and I'll never sleep.
But a movie like The Grudge 2 doesn't, like, no offense to fans of The Grudge out there, but like, it's not trying as hard to be as good of a movie as this is. Like, it's just not.
It's to scare the shit.
Well, I mean, The Grudge is also a remake.
A remake of
another film that is arguably has more on its mind. The Grudge is an American ripoff.
Yeah, we're comparing movies that are made to like make you piss yourself to a movie that was made to like make you think and feel something.
Contemplate.
It's not just
your
fear.
existence
Not
as
like,
what does it mean to be human?
Yeah,
and
we're not talking like 3 seconds of
food away.
fear.
That being said,
like, whoa, what a fucking trip! Like
having something crawl up from underneath my bed sheets, like. That shit scarred me for a fucking
haunts
long
me to
time.
this day. Yes, I don't like addicts.
So, like, if Killian came up to your bedside and woke you up in the middle of the night, you just throw him across the room.
That kid's getting clocked.
And he's gonna learn.
He's gonna learn one way or another.
I would say I have told anytime anybody asks me what my favorite horror movie is, because so many times
Oh yeah.
your average just normal human being will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you like scary movies? What's your favorite scary movie?"
Scary movie?
And then I have to go, "John Carpenter's The Thing," and they're like, "Huh?"
What's
And I go,
that?
"John Carpenter's The Thing." They're like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It's a movie about a guys in
They're like,
the
"The
Arctic,
Ring?"
and there's an alien and he transforms into people and they have to figure out who the alien is."
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, because it is." Like,
Yeah.
can you think of another movie like this? Prequel, be damned. No, there's no other movie like this.
Comic. Yeah.
There's no other story like this, and it's telling that they found a little, reach around, for lack of a better phrase, with the prequel. They're like, how do we capitalize upon this IP
Right.
without fucking it up too bad?
Yeah. There was their
Well,
window.
there's this other camp. We can make that story without.
I feel like you were looking for the word workaround.
There you go.
You used
No, I like to reach around. Keep going.
You knew what I was.
You were trying to say workaround. Yeah.
You're doing good.
Sorry.
Hey,
I'm
man,
sorry, guys. I'm 12.
It's Johnny Horror. If it ain't sexual, we're doing something wrong over here.
But no, you're right. That was their gray zone. That was like
that was like, how do we get around?
it's just
not
vague enough.
fucking up anything after this, because I don't think anybody wanted. I think there have been so many times that it's come up in discussions like, "Hey, how about we do a sequel to The Thing? How about we do a sequel to The Thing?" And I'm sure so many people have been like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to fuck with that."
Right.
Yeah, you can't touch it.
You have to
can't touch
have
it.
something special if you're gonna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got to bring something really good to the table,
Yeah.
or you just go backwards.
Yep.
And do a prequel.
I am with both you guys in the fact that there are other movies that legitimately scare me more. The Exorcist still scares me.
Right.
I think arguably that The Exorcist and Alien are probably the scariest movies ever made. I still watch Alien and I am still scared.
Yeah. Alien's
Oh, yeah.
scary. as fuck.
Alien is a fucking scary
Fucking
movie.
terrifying.
And it's presence. I'm watching that movie and I am scared while I'm watching that movie.
Yep.
I'm scared when I think about The Thing.
Yep.
I'm scared about. It's like what we talked about with the music. It's not something I'm seeing, it's not something I'm hearing, it's something I'm feeling. It's a feeling I watch where it's just this presence of something that is not right. And
That is the thing.
yeah.
It's perfect.
That's the tagline right there for this episode. I don't know, man. There's a vibe about this film
It's
that
a
is.
vibe.
It's depressing,
Yeah.
because
It's oppressive. It's
just watching humans react in their most. It's like ants when it rains. It's just scatter and save yourself.
Yeah,
And
that level of panic and fear is different.
yeah.
So Johnny, you didn't give the listeners your rating out of 10.
Well, I'm getting to that, aren't I?
I don't know.
I mean, come on. I've already said that it's my favorite horror movie of all time.
So
I think it's
7.2?
6.6 out of 10.
No.
I think that yes, like what Kalen said, it's a perfect film. I don't think I could change one thing about it, even though I'm very interested in what Death Bennings could have possibly had.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. I think that's comes out to a solid 9.7 and a half.
Yeah, my bad.
For the Johnny
all
Horror
good.
Podcast. I want to ask you guys before I have a little bit of a spiel we'll go on here
Yeah.
because there was a lot of shit talked about this movie when it was released. But I want to ask you guys in retrospect, Brian, you have only seen this and the Halloween, so maybe it's a little bit harder for you to really really give your opinion, but do we think that this is John Carpenter's best film?
Ooh, you go ahead. Not as much to say about that.
Well, I mean, yes, I do think it's John Carpenter's best film. I have a very, very deep affinity for Halloween. I really, really like Escape from New York. Big Trouble, Little China. Starman.
See, I haven't seen Starman.
Okay. I like Starman a lot. I need to watch it again, though. It's been a while.
Have you seen Assault on Precinct 13?
No. I'm a bad person.
Fuck, it's good. It's
Okay.
really fucking good.
Okay.
And that's pre-Halloween. I mean,
Oh, really?
Really
Okay, so-
fucking good.
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how I haven't seen that movie. But you know, I like I said, I love Halloween. I love Escape from New York. I love Starman.
How do you feel about The Fog?
I haven't seen The Fog since I was like early teens,
See,
so I need to watch that again.
Fog is like a pure aesthetic movie. I think it's a great ghost story.
Okay.
But it's just one of those movies that you just sit and you're just in it. Like
Uh-huh.
it's just a fun, like just being in that world. I think.
Well, talking about this now, I feel like I need to go back and watch The Fog, Assault on Precinct 13, and They Live.
Yeah, I've only ever seen They Live once. I understand the whole political aspect. I think it might be maybe a little too political.
A little too on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also like your star is a wrestling icon, so
I mean,
that I think that's par for the course.
Mhm.
But I think I watched it before I could really appreciate it, so I think it's overdue. But In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, that's right. I fucking love In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, I mean that's
Damn.
Sam Neill right there.
Yeah, Sam Neill.
Have you seen Christine?
Yep. I like Christine.
Christine's fun too.
I like Christine a lot.
Christine's just a good aesthetic. So I mean the man I feel like we have Wes Craven who has such peaks
Mm-hmm.
and valleys.
There are
Valleys.
valleys, yeah.
I think Carpenter is the horror master because he's so has a consistent through line.
Made a lot of good movies and a lot of good different movies
Yes.
too. They weren't all the same feel or aesthetic or vibe or type of story. Like he did different kinds of movies and he did them really well. Yeah.
I think this is his best. I think this
I think
is
it's the peak, though.
I think this is the most blockbuster-esque
Mhm.
feeling type of movie. And I mean, obviously you have Dean Cundy to thank for that. You have Universal
Oh, yeah,
Studios backing. This picture feels pristine in a way that a lot of his other pictures don't.
They
And
don't.
that's not a knock on those pictures at
No,
all.
absolutely. Dude, Halloween looks like it was shot with literal shoelaces. Like
Yes.
looks like you don't have a budget at all. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
And I don't know. I just it's astounding to me that even when this film came out that it was not appreciated even
Yeah.
even
I think
in that
that's
regard.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
At all.
So let's talk here. Let's do the legacy of the thing. So we're trying to end on a high note here,
There we
okay?
go.
In the years following its release, critics and fans have reevaluated The Thing as a milestone of the horror genre. The Present review by Peter Nichols in 1992 called The Thing a bleak, memorable film that may yet be seen as a classic.
Damn.
That's about what 10 years afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has been called one of the best films directed by Carpenter. John Kenneth Muir called it Carpenter's most accomplished and underrated directorial effort. And a critic, Matt Zeist, said it is one of the greatest and most elegantly constructed B movies ever made. Trace Thurman of Bloody Disgusting described it as one of the best films ever, and in 2008, Empire Magazine selected as one of the 500 greatest movies of all time. At number 289. That's impressive. That's almost halfway to the top. 500 greatest movies of all time. You know how many fucking movies there are?
I don't think anyone actually knows how many movies there are.
Yeah. That's something. Granted, that's just some American historian doing that.
Exactly. That's a very skewed piece. But
still, that's of note. Calling it a peerless masterpiece of relentless suspense, retina-racking visual excess, and outright nihilistic terror. God, try saying that 5 times fast. It is now considered to be one of the greatest horror films ever made, and a classic of the genre. Several publications have called it one of the best films of 1982, including filmsite.org, film.com, and Entertainment Weekly. Muir called it the best science fiction horror film of 1982, an incredibly competitive year, and perhaps even the best genre motion picture of the decade. Complex named it the 9th best of the decade, calling it the greatest genre remake of all time. Numerous publications have ranked it as one of the best science fiction films, including number 4 by IGN, number 12 by Thrillist, number 17 by Games Radar Plus, number 31 by Paste, number 32 by Esquire and Popular Mechanics, and number 76 by Rotten Tomatoes based on average review score. Similarly, The Thing has appeared on several lists of top horror films, including the Boston Globe, including number 1 by the Boston Globe, number 2 by Bloody Disgusting, number 4 by Empire, number 6 by Time Out. Empire listed its poster as the 43rd best film poster ever in 2016. I thought that was kind of random. I thought that was kind of random as well. 43rd. We're like building up, and your poster's 43rd of all time. In 2016, the British Film Institute named it as one of the 10 great films about aliens visiting Earth. It was voted the 9th best horror film of all time in Rolling Stone Reader Poll, and is considered one of the best examples of body horror. Games Radar Plus listed its ending as one of the 25 best of all time. Contemporary review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes reports that 83% of 75 critics gave the film a positive review with an average of 7.40 out of 10. The site's critics consensus reads, grimmer and more terrifying than 1950s Take. John Carpenter's The Thing is a tense sci-fi thriller rife with compelling tension and some remarkable makeup effects. On Metacritic, the film has weighed an average of 57 out of 100 based on 13 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews, which I think is highly underrated. In 2011, Carpenter remarked that it was perhaps his favorite film from his own filmography. He lamented that it took a long time for The Thing to find a wider audience, saying, "If The Thing had been a hit, my career would have been different. I wouldn't have had to make choices I had to make. I wouldn't have had to make the choices that I made, but I needed a job. I'm not saying I hate the movies I did. I love making Christine and Starman and Big Trouble in Little China, all those films, but my career would have been different."
Dang.
I agree, 100%. Do you rank this as the best horror film of all time? I think a lot of lists have Texas Chainsaw as number 1.
I have this out of Texas Chainsaw by a lot. personally.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have so like I think rankings are a little overrated.
Yes.
Because it's like, what's better, Alien or The Thing? It's two perfect movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to pick one over the other. So like when we're talking about the greatest horror film of all time, I can say The Thing, I can say Alien, I can say The Exorcist, I can say Psycho. You know what I mean? Like my mind can go a lot of places. I have a lot of horror films that I think are right at the top. I guess I just listed 4 of them, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I think it's right. I think it's clearly in that conversation. I think it's as good as anything, and I think it has as strong as an argument for best horror film ever made as anything.
Yeah.
Is it the best remake of all time? You have
Does Fury Road count as a remake?
no.
Uh,
I would say the
remakes.
closest contender, at least as far as horror is concerned, The Fly is the Fly.
Sure, The Fly is a big deal. I would put The Thing above The Fly personally.
Yeah. I think the thing with the Fly, no pun intended, is that it does deal in a more personal level. You're dealing with 2 characters instead of 12.
Yep.
But as I stated on one of the episodes 5 hours ago, that I think The Fly has arguably the most tragic arc of any character that ever put on screen. So you throw that in the mix, but dude, The Thing is just what a fucking knock out of the park. And again, good for Carpenter that at least he got to be alive to see the damn film appreciated.
Absolutely.
Right, man.
I mean, I think Carpenter knows too. What I think he knows what people like us think about him at least.
Yeah.
So there's
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that guy would just rather play video games than watch the Lakers lose. So.
Hey, man. Good for him. Me too. Making movies is fucking hard.
Thoughts on Halloween Ends? Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I think we managed to wrap up this episode in like half an hour as opposed to
Look out.
the other 2.
I don't think we did, but we got closer to it.
So where are we at here? Oh wow, we hit an hour. God damn.
7 hours of podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Oh man, boys, this has been a ton of fun. I know you guys are fucking exhausted, as am I. We are at 1:45 in the morning. We started this at 8. So that just shows you how much fun we had talking about the thing.
Hell yeah.
Guys, if you stuck it out this long, if you listen to all of this shit, then hell, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, baby.
Share us on, wherever you can share us, on Instagram, on Facebook, we have fun doing this. I have fun doing this. I just love talking about horror movies. I just have a blast. The only reason that I ever started doing a podcast is I just wanted to talk to people about horror movies. If you enjoy us, share us, give us a like, give us a follow. Fellas, thanks for sticking it out with me this long. This is probably my favorite podcast I've done. So this has really been my pleasure, and I appreciate you guys. Brian Calvert, Kalen Behrman. Thank you guys for sticking it out. We will see you motherfuckers on the flip side. But until then, back off! Way off! Adios, muchachos!